In a powerful kingdom in Nigeria, there once lived a king, so proud he believed he was greater than the very people who made him king. His name was King Adewale. Before he became king, Adewale was different. He was kind, humble, and wise beyond his years. He walked among the people. He listened to their problems. He helped the poor and respected the elders. Because of this, the people loved him deeply. So when the old king died, Adewale was crowned with joy, celebration, and hope. Drums echoed through the land, voices sang his name, and the kingdom believed a golden era had begun. And at first, it was true. The farms flourished, the markets were full, peace spread across the land like morning sunlight. But slowly, something began to change. Little by little, pride entered the heart of the king. At first, it was small. He began to take credit for everything. "The harvest is great because of me," he said. "The kingdom prospers because of my power." Soon, he stopped asking for advice. The elders who once guided him were no longer welcomed. When they spoke, he ignored them. When they warned him, he dismissed them. And when the people came with their problems, he grew impatient. One day a farmer came crying. "My king," he said, "our crops are failing. We need help." But the king waved his hand and replied, "Handle your problems yourselves. I am not to be bothered with every small issue." From that day, the distance between the king and his people grew. High walls were built around the palace. Guards stood at every gate, and the king who once walked among his people was now hidden from them. Then one afternoon, an old man arrived at the palace. He was known across the land as a man of wisdom. Despite the guards, he insisted, "I must speak to the king." After much delay, he was allowed inside. He stood before King Adewale, calm and fearless. Then he spoke. A king who stops listening to his people is already losing his throne. The room fell silent, but instead of reflecting, the king laughed, a loud, mocking laugh. "Old man," he said, "do you not know who I am? I am the king. My power cannot be taken." Angered by the warning, he ordered the old man to be thrown out. And as the old man was dragged away, he said one final thing. "When pride speaks, wisdom departs." Not long after that, the kingdom began to suffer. The rains stopped falling. The soil became dry and cracked. Crops failed across the land. Hunger slowly crept into every home. The markets became empty. Children cried through the night. Families struggled to survive. The people went again to the palace, hoping their king would listen. But the gates remained closed. Inside, the king refused to believe anything was wrong. "It will pass," he said. "I am still in control." But he was wrong. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. And the suffering only grew worse. Until one night, the people could take no more. They gathered together, young and old, men and women, not with anger alone, but with unity. They stood as one, and together they walked toward the palace. No swords, no violence, only voices and determination. "A king who does not care is no king at all," they said. As they approached, the guards stepped aside, because even they were part of the suffering. For the first time, King Adewale looked outside his palace and truly saw his people. Weak, hungry, broken. And in that moment, his pride shattered. He realized he had failed them, but it was too late. The people removed him from the throne. No cheers, no celebration, only silence. The same people who once praised him now walked away. Alone, without power, without a crown, Adewale left the kingdom. Days later, he sat under a tree in a distant village. No guards, no palace, no title, just silence and regret. For the first time in a long while, he listened. He listened to the wind. He listened to the struggles of others. He listened with a humble heart. And finally, he understood. Power is not given to control people. It is given to serve them. But by the time he learned this lesson, he had already lost everything: his throne, his people, and the respect he once held. And so, his story became a lesson across the land, a reminder that pride destroys what humility builds, and a leader who refuses to listen will one day stand alone. Never let pride take what your character creates.